say.
Of course, it is going to be that Rise. And now, the real question that I have for this drafting phase is Kalista, above all else. I feel like they're picking standard lanes, they're 2v2ing, and the Kalista is always winning the matchup because it's Kalista and Nautilus or Kalista and Thresh. Now, you take the Thresh, maybe ban the Nautilus, vice versa, or you pick the Kalista, deny that away from your opposition. You are giving them Corki then, which can be flexed.
Yep.
That's the dangerous thing. So Avant having that first pick, we'll see if they actually prioritize it.
Well, right now, Alistar and Poppy have been banned on the Avant Garde and Chief side respectively, so the same bans, I believe, from most of our games here. No real changes just yet. We'll see if Rek eats another Z ban over on the Chief side, but Avant firstly need to ban a final champion. It is Graves actually taken out of the jungle.
Not a bad decision. We have seen Spooks now on the Kindred. It was good, but it wasn't the same that the Graves was. You couldn't just outright invade your opposition, keep them down, and essentially cheese your opponents.
Yeah, I like it. I think it opens up Shelby, if he is going to play Elise, to have a bit better of a time on the champion, because Graves, to me, just seems to do so well in the matchup. But Chiefs have to really consider this final ban now. Is it Kalista? And what happens if they leave it open? Chiefs, what is it going to be? It's going to be Zed once again.
Yeah, and it has to be the Zed. Seems to be just this overwhelming factor for Avant Garde. Being able to play that on their mid laner. His two really strong performances have been on Zed, where he's just hard carried the games. And lots of options now available for AV. Do they go for the Corki? Do they go for the Gangplank, which no one seems to want to go for?
Yeah, it's funny actually. Gangplank has in fact dropped through a whole number of drafts between these two teams. As Malaz do some champions. I'm sure he can play almost all of the ones that I'm pretty sure he ran him through.
The Huni special as well, the Rise counter.
Yep.
Shouldn't be seen because Rise is banned.
Yep, makes sense. I like this as well. Bit of a shout out perhaps to Swiper. There's an actual shout out to Swiper with the Fiora hover. Avant clearly considering this last pick very heavily. 10 seconds left. I wonder what they want.
I wouldn't be against the Nautilus.
Yeah.
But I feel like having the flex by going Trundle is a lot more valuable.
So they do take Trundle there. This does leave the obvious open, it feels like, in this series, which is Kalista. Both AD carries have honestly traded amazing Kalista games after we split the first two. The Swiper is going to hover the Trinity. He loves to do this, but I think Kalista probably wants to be involved somewhere.
I mean, yeah, I feel like we have to keep coming back to that, seeing if it's there. But of course, if Kalista's not there, then we have to look towards both of these teams and say, why not? Yep. And what are they looking to execute with their team composition? So Chiefs, they might go towards that lane, so it might actually play the PvE style that was mentioned on the analyst desk to avoid the 2v2 matchup. Not because Destiny and Blind Turkey can beat them 2v2, because that could go either way. But because Chiefs, as an experienced side in a Game 3 in a best-of-3 series, looking at the face of 2 defeats in a row, might just want to try and out-macro their opponents.
That's exactly what Carvin said. Eliminate the variables. As Kalista, Rek'Sai are the decisions there for the Chiefs. So Spook's going to go back to much more of a safer macro-style jungler.
Yeah.
Can still get aggressive if he wants, but it's not the Graves that was banned. It's not the Kindred that he played, I say, quite well in Game 2. And Rady is going to take Kalista.
Yeah, I think I like the Rek'Sai a lot more here for Spooks above all else. Graves being banned, easy to default back to, say, the Kindred that you played and did alright with, but Rek'Sai unlocks a lot more movement around the map. Shelby, you have to assume, goes towards the Elise every single game, so now you can just pick the Rek'Sai knowing that it's going to be available and most likely locked in.
Well, Shelby apparently considering 2 different junglers, but we'll see where he ends up. He's had 2 Elise games in a row, been AP Elise both times, with 1 win and 1 loss, which were both very different games for the player.
Yeah, and Ridley as well is a jungler that hasn't been looked at in this particular series. Feels like everyone has such niche picks as junglers.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot open. 80 carries running around. You still got sort of your traditional junglers, but it is going to be Elise and Lucian that picks there for Avant. So Destiny actually goes back, way back to comfort there on the Lucian pick. And Shelby, of course, third Elise game in a row.
And entirely avoiding the Corki, which means it's still available for the Chiefs.
Yep.
If they have...
And Cheese actually like this pick away from Rek, taking the LeBlanc, and also giving the counter pick to Swiper, I think makes a lot of sense here as well. But I think you probably already know what's top lane. It's going to be that Trundle again. So we'll see what Avant do want to pick up here. They've got lots of decisions to make about how they round out this team comp. There it looks to be Nautilus again. We saw a lot of Nautilus back when Kalista was super popular.
Yeah, well, Nautilus is the pick into Kalista, right? Denies any hopping away, is a knock-up champion, just crowd control everywhere.
I like this arc. Rek actually taking Kassadin. So we talked about it. Rect, a big LeBlanc player, certainly knows some counters to it. Kassadin, not a hard counter by any means, but perfectly serviceable in the matchup.
Rect also a big assassin player in general, so Kassadin fits the bill perfectly for that. So we'll have experience on Kassadin, against LeBlanc, and on LeBlanc, so knows exactly how this matchup should work, the ins and outs of it. And Kassadin's surprisingly good into LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Which is a very weird thing to say, but just put 3 levels into the queue and you'd be quite happy with it.
Yep. Get those trades effectively happening. Although I do like that both players are going back to more assassin style. So Cheese, who did have a lot of picks on the Ari in game 1, maybe look for that here as well on LeBlanc, as Chiefs might just go to Swiper. Not that champion, probably.
Yeah.
Let's see what Adrian wants to do. I think he's having some fun, but it could be Fiora once again for Swiper. It is going to be Fiora. That's 3 games in a row. One great game, one maybe not so great game. But Malaz has got the pick he wanted last time. He can't be unhappy with this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. Malaz is just going to be content with the 1v1. Builds straight tank, doesn't go for the split push build, just looks to not die against Swiper at the moment, which is actually a big deal against these Chiefs roster, because Swiper does need to step up, needs to be a massive carry, and if he's not being unlocked to do so by killing Malaz or even forcing him out of lane, then it makes life a lot harder for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and Swiper definitely had some maybe over-aggressive moments in the second game there, so see if he can maybe reel some of that back in. But the Chiefs, it does feel like, as expected, they've gone a little bit more back to basics. Like, Cheese is back on a more aggressive champion, Radiant this time with the Kalista, but even Avant have sort of consolidated. You know, LeBlanc away, fine. I'll take Kassadin, Destiny. Kalista's gone, straight back to Lucian. Don't even worry about Corgi.
Yeah, I mean, Destiny's going to be comfortable on Lucian as well. It's his most played in the OPL, of course. Seems to be quite comfortable with actually using the mechanics and putting down damage on Lucian, which is something you don't often see. A lot of Lucian's 2-item spike, they just facilitate from there on out, never really hard carry. Destiny's the only actual AD carry that's played Lucian and looked to exclusively hard carry. He does 34% of his team's total damage.
Which is a ton.
Yeah.
As we are going to look at our hashtags one last time in the evening. Hashtag AV win for Romano, hashtag CHF win. Hard to say who's going to pull this one out. Make sure you get on Twitter, and of course use the hashtag IamOPL if you'd like to join in the conversation. You never know, you may get a tweet on the broadcast, maybe it involves a beard. Given the trend of the evening, that would not be particularly surprising.
I feel like your best chance is to have a beard.
That is the best chance.
We'll say this is your last chance.
It's not your only chance, but it is your last chance to get in the tweet tonight, that is true. As we're going to hang out, check out little Owl. Looking very cute there on top of the red buff. Well, that's the Chiefs side as they move out here for their last game.
It's good. Purple side, it has purple eyes.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well,
it's certainly something. I don't know.
We'll see if the Chiefs notice. Spook's pretty close to old Hootie. And we'll see. It looks like just some defensive out. Oh, a snail.
A snail. We're just like animal hunting now.
It's good. David Attenborough's tour of Summoner's Rift. I like it.
30 seconds until minions
The majestic
spawn.
snail. It looks like both teams just spread out fairly defensively. As a reminder, this is our final game of the night. The teams have split the games 1 apiece, and we already had a marathon best of 3 to start the night off, Rusty. So at the end of this, we'll be 6 games in. The first time ever the OPL doubleheader has gone the maximum amount of games. I have to say, this series, especially this one, has been great to watch here. I feel like we've had 2 pretty volatile games. Feels like both teams won relatively quickly and built good leads. So this game, you have to think, probably going to be quite close.
Yeah, you would have to assume so. I feel like the early game plays a massive part in this and seeing who actually comes out ahead. Avant, they did well when they had an early lead, but they needed to have a pretty substantial early lead to take that any further. Whereas the Chiefs, able to close out games with less of a gold lead. Their experience.
Well, Shelby right now is going to take the Grump with a bit of extra help from Malaz, and we are going to have standard lanes again. Cheese versus Rekt one more time, but this time it's an assassin matchup here for both of them.
It does start a bit rough here for Rekt. The range always hurts with auto attacks. Of course, you need to be careful if you were Cheese with minion aggro. But whenever that shield is down, and especially when Cheese hits level 2, you need to respect that LeBlanc burst.
This Swiper again. Nice lunge actually all the way over the back of the Trundle. Does eat good damage from Malaz, who popped that corrupting potion, but again, level 1 trades. Top laners definitely know what they're doing here. It's back down to the bottom lane. This was the lane that exploded in both our games here, but it looks like level 2 has been hit by all 4 champions, and we're going to have a little bit more be a bit more reserved this time around.
It's going to be pretty difficult for a Nautilus Lucian to actually kill the Kalista this time around with a Braum to back it up. I feel like there might be a little bit more kill pressure towards the direction of the Chiefs if a Braum Q connects.
Well, I think for the first time tonight, the bottom lanes of both these teams play a little bit more cautiously.
They make it to level 2.
When they hit level 2, yeah. Everyone is alive with all potions and all summoners at level 2. What a world we live in. As Shelby, good there to actually take the Raptor. But he's actually a little low here. Has to repel back out. She's chasing in, but smart little play there from Shelby as Spooks does try and find more aggression.
Yeah, very quaint work here from Shelby. Actually places the ward, now looks to defend it. And the battle doesn't stop here.
Nope, going to keep moving in for it. Repel not up. Spook's going to chase, but can't really make it all the way in.
It really doesn't end, does it? These two.
Well, Shelby never wants to see territory. A swipe from Malaz. Having a bit of a battle. Pillar down, Raposa's there. Malaz going to keep chasing in, but the minions actually might turn this around. Swiper almost claims the kill.
Almost claims it, but not enough. These two. They're not going to stop, and this is good for both teams in a weird way, because Spooks knows exactly where Shelby is and knows that the red buff hasn't been taken. It's just biding his time to ensure that it's not taken so that he can keep absolute tabs on Avant Garde's jungler. But it also means that all of AV know exactly where Spooks is at all times.
Yep, smart ward as well from Avant. Did ward their own red. There's a good hook again from Blind Turkey. Radier under fire as they do pop the heal. Ejim blocking some shots off from Destiny as Radier going to look to maybe turn this around, but Destiny goes in. He smells blood. He's going so aggressive for it. Radier gets exhausted. The flash is into Destiny. Can't quite get the last auto. Ejim gets first blood.
Ejim picks it up, and Chiefs turn it around this time in their own 2v2. It doesn't end with these guys in the bottom lane. Fighting at all stops.
We thought we were safe.
And this was Destiny going in without the ability to even have Blind Turkey. He waits for the Braum passive. Second it ends. Straight on top of his face. But Braum's passive can just be reapplied. The flash Q didn't actually connect.
Yep.
And that was the flash from Raider, honestly, that did that.
Yep. Nice moves there from the Chief bottom lane. Ejim's Ignite also helping out in that trade. As Destiny, this time the first one to fall around. He could see the first blood again, but Radier will take the early initiative in the lane. Go back, get himself a recurve bow. As against a tweeter actually from Tally. Legacy's top laner. Chiefs early picking mid while Kassadin was still up was a big mistake, IMO.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. They give Rex the capabilities of playing Kassadin. Something he's quite comfortable on. A snowball champion as well. Rex going to be quite comfortable. And there's nothing Cheese can do.
Yeah, and he's got the 3 points in the queue now. Ultimate almost up as well. Looks like blue buff is going to get donated over to LeBlanc. Spooks with a bit of assistance from Ejim, able to do that.
Nope, Spooks got it.
Oh no. That's bad news for Cheese.
And there's honestly no excuse for that. It wasn't even Spooks. He was auto-attacking it in a very predictable manner. There was no reason for it to not go over to Cheese. They just auto-attacked at the same time as the distortion. And it's a slight mistake, but it's something that you have no excuse for.
Yeah, and Cheese goes back. Does get a blasting one and a second Doran's ring, but no blue buff is going to hurt him here in the lane. Rekt able to stay as well. Keep the CS up. Has gone back already. Use that teleport to get back to lane. As Shelby's straight on top of a ward here.
Yeah, he's still there. It looked like he was going to recall, but he's just still there. So much time wasted. Now Spooks is farming the jungle freely. Well, the ward's dead now at least. Well, he would have known.
Too late for Shelby. He's wearing off now. And does recall finally back to base. He's going to go for the Runic Echoes once again as Spooks takes his time to invade this topside jungle. Why not? Going to smite the wolf away. Get some counter jungling done.
As he absolutely should as well. Having that much knowledge of where the Elise was, you'd hope to get at least something for it.
Yep, you can see Rekt taking a bit of damage, but Kassadin passive doing nicely here as Blind Turkey one auto away from stunned. Nice little rend there off the other side. Blind Turkey pretty tanky.
Yeah.
But a nice trade there from the Chiefs duo as Rekt starting to take a bit more damage this time, and Spooks is lining up a dive.
Yeah, Rekt is due for a recall. Doesn't want to overstay his welcome, but he's about to put a ward down Or not.
No, he's
getting
actually
the blue.
going for the blue. This is a good play here from Spooks. Recto going to riff walk away. Is back in bottom lane. Blind Turkey low as Ejim is going to take him out. Fate's Call pop. Destiny will kill Radier. But
He's just hit 6. There's a culling.
Culling.
No matter?
Not enough.
Oh, no.
Zooms in. Auto's not there. Didn't have enough spells, I don't think. As Spooks, I think, just took the blue buff. How rude.
Shelby had one as well, though.
I think Shelby might have had to take it as challenge in the topside action. Never stops here in this game as Swiper finds a slow, procs the Vital, and is looking to climb this one down and try and finish the duel. His ulti wears off though, and Malaz safe again.
And Spooks, of course, still stalking, not actually pulling the trigger on anything just yet. Knows where he's recalled. We'll stop it. So, clever, but not going to achieve anything as, once again, this bottom lane, unrelenting. Destiny and Blind Turkey, they know what they have to do to win this game. And they know the best way to attack it is straight into the heart of the Chiefs carry. It's working out.
Yes and no.
Well, to be fair, so Ejim got both of the kills.
Yes.
That's pretty big. Because that means Raider doesn't have the money. Destiny does still have a kill in his back pocket. So with the CS at the exact same, it actually favors Avant bot lane.
Yeah, and the BF still there for Destiny. Certainly going to help out if the lane continues to be as aggressive as we've seen it. Recto did finally get back safely. Didn't lose too much in CS either. Still even. And has a catalyst now for that lane. So Cheese looks like Abyssal first. Going to be his pick up here. Makes perfect sense. But you can see the aggression here from both of them. And Spook's actually mid lane.
Yeah.
Looking to maybe apply some additional pressure for the LeBlanc.
And it's going to have to be an Abyssal Scepter first for Cheese. Doesn't really have any power until that item is completed. And even then, if there's a Rod of Ages done for Rect, it just starts to get worse and worse. Malaz is probably the right person to focus.
Yep, and that's why we're going to go in. No ulti yet for Fiora, but Malaz going to get knocked up by Spooks. Pillar is down. Malaz will flash out, but the Vital's there for Swiper. There's another one there, but Malaz hugging that wall very carefully. Riposte is in there. They are going to go for the dive. Swiper gets the kill.
And honestly, Malaz there should have just bitten Spooks to try and slow him down, potentially look for a trade. But smart decision here from the Chiefs. They do focus the right lane. They get Swiper rolling. Not only do they 1v1 beforehand, they come back to lane and they pick up a kill.
Yeah, important stuff there. The Swiper was the carry the analyst desk was looking for here. 1-0 is a good start to the game, but Avant are going to respond with this Dragon. Shelby going to get a little low trying to do it, but support here from the bottom lane should make it pretty trivial. Shelby not even going to use the smite. Just make sure he takes it. Going to save the smite for something else. Gets insanely low doing so, but he should be alright. Spooks zooms his way back into Shelby's jungle.
Yep. Knows that the dragon has just been taken. Will likely spot Shelby, you would have to imagine, once he recalls. And Shelby getting ridiculously low right now.
Doing red buff.
Slapping that red.
Cheese. Does land the chain, but not quite long enough there. Rect able to juke back and forth long enough to get to the safety of his turret. It's back in bottom lane. Hook again onto Ejim. Destiny going to move it down, but good ulti. They're going to turn things around. Exhaust is down. Ulti out from Nautilus. The Fate's Call. Those burners Radier. Ate almost a full face of the culling.
Interesting trades here from Avant. You have to admire the aggression that they're putting into those trades. Rek'Sai's here again.
Yep. Spook's going to look to knock him up. Malaz challenge, but good pillar there from the Trundle. Ulti there for Malaz, but does not burn it. Spook's unsuccessful that time.
100% of their focus from the Chiefs is in this top lane. Malaz does have his teleport and is choosing to stay around and should be able to sustain his way through. I mean, honestly, the emphasis they're putting on this top lane, Swiper's going to have to split push anyway. And so if they continue to put that same amount of effort into it, then it could backfire.
I mean, the potential worry is actually mid lane is wrecked. Building in towards that roller. Barely a CS lead at all there for Cheese.
This is actually pretty big. It's a completed Runic Echoes to Shelby. If Malaz baits this properly.
Well, bottom lane first is Destiny getting aggressed on again. Ejim going to flash in. Raid is going to get him with a rend. And now Blind Turkey going to be aggressed on here. The passive's enough. Raider gets a double kill. And now back in top lane. Repel used down, but Malaz is just a little too low. He's popped the ulti. He'll get tankier. But no one dies once again in topside, but Raider getting the double's huge.
Yeah, and this is such a volatile bot lane. That double for Raider sets them up for success from here on out. The Kalista is something we said needs to be addressed in this drafting phase, but instead they give that one over and go for the Trundle. Something they might look back at and question themselves.
Well, we'll have to see. It seems like they have good answers potentially with the Castanet and the Nautilus, but doesn't help you in laning phase, unfortunately.
No.
As Radiant 2-1 and 2 now picking up kills. Like 5 of Chief's kills. Four of the 5 Chief kills, 4 of them are in the bottom lane. If you're wondering where the action's happening in this game. Cheese diving in onto Rek though. Great chain's gonna connect. And Cheese getting that damage down, but Rek's starting to shrug it off.
Yeah. I feel like if this continues, and of course this is the Abyssal Scepter spike with the not completed Rod of Ages, so bit of extra damage and slight favoring.
Doesn't stop.
Here we go again.
Puts the shield up though, he'll be safe. Radiant gonna keep cleaning things up. Booster Sweetness completed for the Kalista. Blade done now as well. Essence Reaver not quite there for Lucian as Cheese gets himself the blue buff. Feels like Radiant starting to know he can exert a little bit more pressure in this lane.
Yeah, absolutely. And the attention could be redirected here from Spooks. I feel like they've established at least a considerable lead for farm in that top lane. Swiper's not going to be one to back down from continued pressure. Spooks can now look to just stalk Chelby one more time. Knows where he is. And then choose mid or bottom.
Well, right now, sort of going between the two. Chelby actually bottom side though. Avant going to try and make a play here. Everyone's ultis are up. Blind Turkey going to start things off in an Ejim. Hook does land as Ejim moves out of the way, but Fate's call pop. They're actually going to go back in for it. Ulti out from Ejim as Blind Turkey's already way too low. He'll be the first kill, and they don't even need Spooks.
They absolutely don't. Well played here from Ejim to hit a 3-man knockup basically twice in a row. They don't have vision of Cheese just yet, so they do have to respect. Yeah, that's not a good trade for you, Cheese.
That was cute from Rex. He kind of danced around the minion because he knew the chain was trying to land. And Rex starting to power up. It looks like he's going back. It's top lane again. Swiper and Malaz going head to head. Every single lane is just going crazy.
Yeah. We're looking at Assassin's mid. We're looking at just fighting bottom lanes as that Ejim combo
that was spicy.
Sick.
And never mind, bottom lane Ejim's now dead as they move back into the game. Radiant chasing down Chelby. Swiper here though. Propels down. They're going to chase in. Chelby flashes out. Culling right in the face. Swiper flashes a hook from Turkey. And the Qs are now coming out. Destiny will chase, but that should disengage that. And Malaz sitting top lane wondering what happened.
Chelby somehow gets a kill in this bottom lane, not to Ejim. No ultimate, no flash or ignite available, and the heal not used by Radiant. Crazy, crazy stuff happening in this game.
And all the while, Malaz is just slapping the top turret, dealing some damage.
Can't chomp it though.
No, thank goodness.
They did fix that one on this batch.
Well, definitely be a dead turret if that was the case. Blind Turkey and Spooks will meet in the jungle, but Blind Turkey going to waddle back down the river. He'll be okay. Essence Reaver done now for Lucian as well, and Rod of Ages was completed for Rek plus the CDR boots. He's now level 11. So this mid lane that's honestly been the only lane that's not been going completely ballistic the whole game could be where we look to for the mid game. Both these champions will be very strong.
Yeah, absolutely. The question is, when will they start roaming and getting out of the middle lane? One does have a teleport about to be available. I feel like Spooks just needs to recall about now. He's spent a lot of time stalking Chelby. Yeah, that's a lot of gold for a jungler who hasn't upgraded his jungle items just yet. I feel like if that is going to be the Cinderhulk and the Sidestone, that unlocks a lot of their map pressure through vision placement.
Yep, but
just doing all the jungles.
no good if he hasn't spent the money. And Spooks will take the Krugs and maybe look.
These two minions, by the way, behind Raider and Ejim, they're just going at it.
Yep.
Like, it's like Gladiator.
I think they're
the real question is, when will they die?
Well, maybe never. The Ghost of Minions past the Swiper and Malaz once again. Now Spook's going to join in the party. Malaz, just maybe not too much, but that pillar's pretty sick. Malaz goes in for the huge outplay. Almost kills Swiper as Spooks. I don't think you want to fight this guy, buddy. That's an angry troll.
Trundle, time and again, we're watching Spooks come and help Swiper. But it just never works out for them. Every single time. Malaz just puts down the damage. This pillar, by the way, was amazing. It was like a regrounding pillar from the knockup somehow. Doesn't get the kill just there, but pops the ultimate and denies so many engage tools that the Chiefs have.
And stays top, I think. Doesn't even lose his turret. In fact, going to keep pushing the wave back out. His passive just gives him so much regen.
Yeah.
As Shelby gonna take out the Rift Herald. He'll pick up the buff, see where he can go help out. As Spooks did spend his money, by the way. No Sightstone, but does have the Tracker's Knife. Cinderhawk now done. And is going for magic resistance first.
Yeah, looking straight towards the resistances as well. Not necessarily needing the vision around the map with that Sightstone. He's using his Tremor Sense to keep the tabs on Elise, who is about to find him anyway. Or at least find each other somehow.
Yep, Spooks knows. Chobi doesn't know yet.
Not. He's been spotted.
They can tell Chobi's going. The surveillance system working nicely there for Spooks.
Look at Cheese as well. They immediately come down. He's going to be spotting a pink ward.
Rekt has TP. Malaz has TP as well. Swiper does not.
Yeah.
Most crucially is Cheese. He walked by a pink ward. Has to clear that, go back to mid lane. Looks like the bottom lane tension will dissipate for now, but this game has been very action-packed. It's Cheese and Rekt at it again.
Yep. All of
Spooks being chased by all of Avant. Locked down by the Nautilus. Damage coming in. Ulti not used though. Blind Turkey got greedy to chase Cheese, I think. Destiny pops the ulti, but Spooks lives.
Now, Ejim is coming up, but Rayday is not. So a lot of time here for Avant to push down this turret. Seemingly uncontested.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
They're going to finally break a bit of a stalemate there in mid. Cheese will distort out of the way of Turkey's hook, but Destiny able to claim the tower as Malaz still getting worked on here in topside. Teleport onto Radier. Rekt looking for it. He's trying to hunt him down. Radier has all his summoners up. And Rekt is going to keep chasing, but Radier's going to try and stop him. Shelby's here as well. Radier might look for the outplay, but Rekt's going to flash out of it. And Shelby's getting the shutdown.
And Rekt just gets the heck out of there. Shelby comes from behind the turret, surprising Radier. Nothing he can do. They take down this Kalista. They get the mid turret, rotate down. Those two minions still going at it.
Yep. Rift Herald buff not going to be applied to this turret. Cheese down there as well. And Rekt, of course, can no longer TP down. Swiper has his teleport back up as well, but they're way too busy top lane right now.
Yeah, these two are just going to continuously butt heads. No opportunity for Swiper to teleport when Trundle can place down the pillar and disrupt that from a decently high range. Of course, no disrupt available for Swiper if Malaz were to TP.
Well,
they're
there's
just
the
going to
pillar.
hit each other.
Yep, Malaz, you can see, chomping away.
This is a rinse and repeat type of thing. Having the Ravenous Hydra now completed for Swiper means he has sustain.
From @Gathering, Bob Ross spawn. Amazing.
I think there's just enough titanium white in that particular one. That's amazing.
Love it. That's
Kappa
a happy
Ross
little
in chat,
beard.
man.
That is a happy little beard there from Spawn right on
That
his
is
face.
absolutely saved, not ruined. It is not a Kappa Ross in chat.
Well, we can see now Chiefs are going to move in onto the Dragon. And they will be able to take it. They'll pick up their first one of the game. And like we expected, game number 3 between these two after 2 pretty wild games has been very close. 21 minutes in. Dragons are equal. Gold is only 2k up for the Chiefs. 3-6 in kills with plenty of action in the lanes. And it feels like both teams starting to get towards that mid-game nice and comfortably.
Yeah, really does. And I mean, it's crazy. Like, what point do the Chiefs feel like they spike above that of Avant Garde? Both their AD carries are 2 items. It's just that Raider has his 2 items at the moment. A little bit cheaper for him. Essence Reaver, not the most cost-efficient item. Top lane, they're just going to do this the whole time. So they're not really in consideration. So you look at the mid lane.
Malaz though,
These two.
ulti again. Malaz has counter ultis. Pillars down. Malaz actually might fancy this, but Spooks is here again. Cheese is even coming up as well. And Malaz now knows the jig is up. He has to try and move out of the way. But Swiper's going to chase him down, and Cheese going to try and complete the dive. Malaz though, juking around, pops the pillar. Just going to keep getting health back. Now he has to hug the wall. Cheese got in for it. It just blows him up. Now bottom lane though, the fight breaks out. Rend is massive there from Radier. It's Destiny! Flashes in! He wants it, but he can't get it. Radier takes him out.
The decision-making from Destiny in a millisecond was not enough. Oh, Raider!
Oh, Radier gets the snipe. Rekt takes out Ejim though. He's down here as well as Spooks. Ulti's in, takes out Rekt. Blind Turkey now in trouble as Spooks gonna look to chase him down. Good flash Riptide there. Needs to move the Umbrella out.
Pushing as well. This is just absolute insanity.
Whoa, Blind Turkey goes back in. But Spook's more than happy to fight. Tier 2 in top will for a Swiper and Cheese team up for the kill and 2 towers. And the game is starting to open up. You thought it was crazy before. Spook's even going to get this tower down the bottom side as well. The Chiefs actually now out to a pretty substantial lead. 5,000 gold up.
And it just continues to happen from Destiny on this Lucian. He's so aggressive and confident. But in that one moment where he loses that confidence, you see the misstep and the unsure usage of the flash. It's here, once they put down the damage on a Raider, they know he's within a hit, and he's gonna flash, but he just kind of walks in a sideways direction, not sure which direction he wants to go. Unrefined mechanically there, unfortunately, and this was sick. That was ridiculous.
Yep, Shelby's in the wrong spot there. Rek does continue to dive to finish him off, but Spook's ulti also on point there.
Yeah, absolutely. Ganks top lane, takes down the Trundle, ults bottom lane and has an impact there, and even gets the turret in the end. Chiefs have kind of turned on their aggression. We were talking about the item spikes before that particular fight. They've hit their 2 items. We saw Cheese go top.
Shelby's got out here, just going to get blown up. Cheese starting to really hurt.
Yeah.
Picks up his 2nd kill now of the game, starting to get a bit more active around the map as well. You asked the question, when are they going to turn on the aggression? I think the answer is now.
Yep. We have the 2 items completed for Rekt as well, though, so the Zonias is there. Cheese, not exactly capable of fighting him as much at the moment, but with Spooks around,
yeah, with
no
some
doubt.
help, not too bad. Good riff walk out. Buffers out of the knockup. But the Chiefs, you can see, this is the play we come to expect. Much more aggressive. They know they've got a lead. They can smell blood. And they're going to move into the mid lane and take out the tower. Pace is really picking up. Swiper down here now as well. Chain will connect. Blind Turkey, they're going to try and make it happen, but he gets ulted up and just exploded as Radier collects credit for his death. Avant going to try and keep them up this tier 2. They will for now.
And this is the Chiefs that were missing in game 2. The conviction when they fight and engage. They know that there was nothing Blind Turkey can do to stop that. Even if he hooks someone, it's not a good move. Immediately take him down, get the turrets, and start snowballing this gold lead further and further in their favor. And we're at that point where the 2-item Lucian just feels like he doesn't do as much damage as the Kalista.
Yeah, and that's true. Lucian will maybe scale a little bit better, but right now, Radier has all the power. Going for what looks like that Bloodthirster again. And all of a sudden, Chiefs drop 6,000 gold, and they're going straight for Baron. The Chiefs want this game to end.
That is a really cute Baron decision here from the Chiefs. Blind Turkey's the only one who's clued onto this potentially, but it's already at 2k.
It's dead.
It is so dead.
Play it safe to rend it down. Blind Turkey maybe even caught out now as well. Dredgeline does not connect onto terrain. Blind Turkey will fall. Swiper able to get that kill.
And 2 Avant members are pushing bottom lane as the only response that they have. Not a great position to be in if you were AV. Shelby's overstaying.
He wants to complete it, he will, but is it going to cost him here? Goes aggressive on the Spooks, of course.
These 2 are just going to fight each other.
Yep, whenever they feel like they can. In fact, it's actually a 1v1 with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Busy mid lane. That inhibitor turret is dead. The Baron buff doing so much damage with 4 members of the Chiefs. Now, Malaz maybe hooked up, does hit the chain. But Rekt and Destiny going to try and kick them out. Chiefs will not take that mid inhibitor just yet.
Yeah, they do manage to push them back. Both junglers just kind of forcing each other. Spook saying you're not going to be able to recall. Shelby saying get off my face. Trying to knock him down, and the Chiefs, yeah, they break the base. They just don't get that crucial inhibitor towards working elsewhere on the map. And AV, now they're looking towards just trying to get Rekt levels. Get him into this game somehow. He is 1 level off that 16. And that's a pretty big spike.
Yeah, I mean, having a good game here, but Chiefs is just going for much more efficient items. Chiefs know that their window to win the game was around that mid game, and they've done exactly that. They've itemized well for it. It feels like they've almost drafted for it. Maybe Swap is a bit of insurance, but the way Chiefs are playing right now, it is just all-out aggression as soon as they hit those spikes.
Yeah.
They'll get themselves a dragon here. Swiper still bottom lane, applying so much pressure.
This is a far cry from game 2 as well. Just actually fighting with that conviction. So much more refreshing to see, and even if Swiper is struggling in this top lane, he knows that Malaz is going to fight him. They recognize tendencies, and they just camp him until it works in their favor.
Yeah, Malaz did a great job trying to hold the fort, but Swiper now, plenty of items on the Fiora, able to keep Malaz busy. Swiper even maybe looks for a dive. Spooks will look for the actual dive here. Malaz, once again, going to get out of it. He flashes forward. Swiper ate too many tower hits there, but Spook's able to tank it up. Malaz just can't do too much here. He's going to keep alive for now. Pills them out of the way, and the team comes to his rescue.
Malaz just never says die, but the Chiefs, of course, they are going to pick up the objectives and most importantly, start to force bottom and mid at the same time. And this is where mistakes start to happen for AV.
Well, you can see Shelby tagged there by the Winter's Bite. Avant have a lot of work to do to try and protect this mid in here, and the Chiefs are going to move in for it. 5 strong now in the mid lane, culling out for Destiny. Braum going to absorb most of that. Ejin puts up the shield. And now what? I don't know if they can defend this, but I think they sort of have to. Blind Turkey trying to line it up. Rady getting a bit too aggressive perhaps. Rek needs to build up. Cheese going to dive in. He takes so much damage on the end of that. And now AV see their chance. Spooks is going to move him, but he'll flash out of the way. And Cheese on a killing spree takes up Blind Turkey. Cassidy dies in and amongst it all. Fiora will fall, but the rest of the carries for Cheese are alive. Destiny lucky to live through that. Shelby flashes out of the next spear. And Malaz, he'll live once again, but Chiefs get what they want.
AV do well to have 3 members survive, but that inhibitor does indeed fall down. The Chiefs stamping their foot on this game and showing that authority that we're used to seeing from them. Bringing it back in game 3.
Yep. And it's been a very wild game 3. Cute from Shelby actually does smite away the wolf. So you can see the Chiefs just have a crazy amount of gold in their favor.
Yeah.
Spooks continuing to counter jungle. Played a great game on the Rek'Sai. And now all the Chiefs have to do is move in for the other lanes and just see how Avant acts under pressure, because they are just so far ahead at this point.
One thing that can definitely be noted is Malaz, when he's playing this Trundle, does feel somewhat predictable. But so does Swiper. They just fight each other, and it's so obvious that they are going to fight each other. The major difference between both of these teams is that Rek'Sai can force top, he can afford to gank top, and then use his ultimate to be elsewhere. Shelby can't afford to do the exact same thing, knows that the bottom lane is fighting all the time, predictably as well, and focuses that. So jungler's making different decisions, but one can impact the map more just by being Rek'Sai.
Yep, and that's Rek'Sai for you. Just so much control over the map. We expected the Chiefs to go a little bit more macro in this final game. They went pretty hard in general on all aspects of the game, still continuing some of that aggression. Avant answered in kind, but the Chiefs, just a bit of that experience still shining through. And with Radiant back on Kalista, 7-3-5 right now. Maybe not as great as his first game, but still looking real strong.
I feel like Scrappy is just where Avant want to be.
Yeah.
Forcing fights constantly.
Well, Swiper going to use the ulti that wants to Malaz. Vitals are going to get procced here. Passive's out, and Malaz just has to run. He's going to survive. Trundle is real tanky, but Swiper's just going to chase him down. He actually might not live through this. The pillar will make sure he does.
I feel like it's safe to assume Trundle lives everything until he's actually dead. At this point, it's so difficult to kill him, but it really is Swiper just dominating now in the 1v1.
Oh, Destiny Cheese picks him off over the wall. Malaz is going to come in to try and answer. Rek with a massive flank on the other side. Braum multi out. Cheese cutting back though, and Rek just getting taken out. Avant are too far behind. They threw everything into that fight, but Cheese gets the crucial pick as Malaz will be the next target. He'll get stunned up by the Braum passive. Cheese is unstoppable as he gets another kill on the Chiefs. They'll move in for the kill.
Absolutely looking to finish this one. Shelby
getting hunted by Swiper, who wants a few more kills, but the Chiefs will knock down the structures, win a very, very wild last game here. Avant made them fight for it, but fight they did as the Chiefs win the series 2-1.
Chiefs looking good in this game number 3. They did have a hiccup in game 2, and it's to be commended for Avant. They put up a fantastic fight in all of the games, but at the end of the day, the experience that is the Chiefs just seems to come up trumps.
Certainly does, and I have to say both teams just fought so hard in that game.
They absolutely did. I mean, the Chiefs in the end, they had what it takes.
Well, it was certainly a fun series, but let's get a bit more from it. We're going to go pop back one last time to the analyst desk.
Thank you so much for your time, and Rusty. That was a great cast, but when we look at that game, you know, we're sitting there, we're talking about the Chiefs' macro play, their leadership ability, like who's going to step up for them. In the end, I almost feel like they sunk down to AV's level and was just like, you know what, Oceania, let's just get the Fido on, boys. Let's just brawl across the map.
Yeah, let's just box it out. I mean, I've always said that one of Chief's best attributes is being able to catch a throw. Often, I'm not kidding. So many times I've seen them behind and then just win because they play patient, they look for a pick, and eventually they find it. And that's, I think, what happened in that game. You know, the Chiefs got outscaled really hard. And managed to bait AV into just constantly finding them instead of scaling.
And we talked about this. Who's going to step up on AV's lineup and really try and get control of what they have to do in this game? Because the thing about Avant, they were playing the early game so beautifully, and they had the Trundle, they had the Kassadin, but they just kept fighting against this Kalista, kept fighting against the Fiora, and in the end, the Chiefs were just able to pick up a couple of kills and run away with the game.
Yeah, and it looked to me like Avant was starting to get frustrated there in the bottom lane. Radier living on like single-digit health multiple times in that laning phase. Wild Turkey wanting to go back in. We constantly went down to that bottom lane. They're just fighting each other. It's like you said, scrappy, but it looked almost frustrated on the side of Avant. You saw Chelby making sort of the classic Chelby moves where he's just like, I'm going to be on you the majority of this time, even if it's the wrong decision to make, right? This is what this guy tends to do when he feels under pressure, when he feels like things are getting out of his control.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw something out there, and I never thought I would say this about the man, but Cheese looked like the most controlled member on the map for some reason. The Melee Zereth God was able to control Rekt in the mid lane, was honestly able to control the Kassadin in what is a losing matchup ultimately. You know, we're talking about how blind picking LeBlanc not great if they can play Kassadin, was able to get some picks through the river. If anyone played control, it was Cheese.
Yeah, it was fantastic play out of Cheese, but I want to talk about Rekt here because he gets on this sort of hyper-scaling mage in the mid lane, and we complimented his Lux play. That was definitely strong, despite the fact that he didn't quite find the victory on the champion. But we have been saying, can you translate into these mid to late game team fights? And that's exactly what you need to be able to do on the Kassadin, but he just flat out couldn't do it that game. He was rift walking right into the middle of the enemy team with a Braum, with the passive on him and just flat out dying.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think his team gave him really that much of an opportunity to carry. He did very well in the lane. He got super fed. He did exactly what a Kassadin wants to do. But then a whole bunch of dives bot, for whatever reason, he gets cleaned up a number of times. All of a sudden, AV go from even to 5k gold down. I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, exactly right. What can you do? And in the end, that means that the Chiefs are able to pick up the 2-1 victory. So as we look at the week's results so far, you can see that Legacy, the only 2-0 of the week over Infernum, and tonight, Trident and Chiefs able to pick up the 2-1 victories. Helligans and Chiefs able to pick up the 2-1 victory against Trident and Avant. But guys, we have an absolute cracker of a match coming up for you tomorrow night. It is going to be Sin taking on the Direwolves. We're calling it the Battle of the Junglers for what is the OPL Legend title. Carbon, I'm sure you've seen the trash talk between the two. I'm sure you've played these teams a lot. In your opinion, as an OPL jungler, probably the best at the moment, who do you think is right in this argument? Is Juves a liability? Is Sybil all talk? What's going on here?
I don't know. You got to make me blush, man. Look. It's an interesting question. Is Juves a liability? According to his team, he isn't, and that's what's important, right? Doesn't really matter what we think. If his team thinks that he's what's right for the team, more power to him. Sybil, on the other hand, had a standout game against Chiefs. We'll see whether or not he can back that up again. I look forward to it.
Yeah, certainly do. Atlas, what are your thoughts on the matchup?
I'm just really excited about the battle of the Zac players. I want to see blobs flying through the air, Majin Buu doing gnarly things on the Rift. Like, I'm really excited about this. Of course, the matchup itself seems like it's in Sybil's favor just because he has looked a little bit more impressive. But Juves has really shown up recently. Of course, his first few appearances, it was like, oh, let's get on the Juves, let's beat him down on Twitter hype train. But not happening anymore. I feel like this guy's starting to step up and really starting to feel comfortable here in the OPL.
Yeah, well, he certainly is going to have to step up if they're going to take it up against Direwolves and Sybil. Guys, that's at 7 o'clock tomorrow, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. But that's all for us tonight. On behalf of myself, thank you so much for joining us on the desk, Carbon and Atlas, and our production crew. We'll see you tomorrow at 7. Enjoy your night.